Now, follow the money. That is often the way to get to the real culprits of crime. It's something the Special Investigating Unit does really well. They've had success in uncovering fraud and corruption at a number of entities. The SIU has been granted now an order to freeze over 2 million rand from a lottery official and his wife in KwaZulu Natal. That's Sibonelo Vilakazi and his wife Zanele Zuma. Let's bring in SIU spokesperson Kaizer Kganyago. Mr. Kganyago, thank you so much for joining us. So I see you've been seizing and freezing, which is what the SIU tends to do really, really well. Once you've followed the money, satisfied yourselves as a case to answer. Let's talk specifically about this National Lotteries Commission official, Sibonelo Vilakazi, and his wife, Zanele Zuma. What was going on? What do you believe you've uncovered?
Good morning and good morning to your viewers. What really happened here, it is part of our investigation to the Lottery Commission. And when we investigated, we found these transactions that were done in the KwaZulu Natal office, where one of the officials there by the name of Sibonelo Vilakazi was now siphoning money. He went out to some soccer clubs and some NGos and said to them that they must apply for this grant funding. And then immediately they received the money. Then they gave him and his wife and a company that is owned by the wife to a lot of money. When we calculated at the time, it was more than 32 million rand that was transferred into those bank accounts. Then we quickly went and we found that most of the money has already been moved, but there were still about 2.4 million that was in 4 accounts. And on the basis of that, we then went to the special tribunal to try and get this money freezed, so that when we do the application to set it aside, we will be in a position to get this money. But things got complicated, Sally, on this one, because then this couple went to the High Court in KwaZulu Natal and then wanted the money to be unfreezed by FNB and NLC. When we went to there, we wanted to be party to this application, and we ended up with a situation where the Lottery Commission did not oppose, and therefore we were not successful. Therefore, we quickly went back and then went to the special tribunal, and that is how we ended up with this freezing of 2.4 million.
Wow, so it's actually a lot more than 2.2 million that they are alleged to have stolen. Essentially getting kickbacks, going to groups such as daycare centres, football clubs, saying, listen, we can get you lottery money, but we expect a bit in return. So you believe they have stolen more than 30 million rand. How long do you think the scheme may have been going on for?
No, this scheme has been happening since 2019. In principle, it is between 2019 and I think 2023 or so, 22, somewhere there. They have been doing this for a very long time, and we were able to trace all of those transactions that they were doing, and we really want to get that money back. And people might ask, what about the remainder of the money? Because you only freeze 2.4. 2.4 we freeze because it is in the bank account. But if we get this order ultimately to set aside all of those transactions and recover, we'll be in a position to then say, this becomes a debt, and we have got to recover from the properties that they own, because they have taken money that doesn't belong to them. As we speak, this Mr. Vilakazi is suspended by the National Lottery Commission.
Talk to me about the football clubs, the daycare centres that kind of fell for his scheme, that said, all right, we're desperate for lottery money, we'll give you a kickback when we get ours. Are they also culpable? Are you going to go after them? Because they're probably, I'm not sure if they are, but I would imagine some of them at least are in need of that money.
No, if they are in need of the money, they must follow proper processes. Therefore, once we do the application to set aside those contracts, therefore, all the money that was given to them, including the ones that they remained with, will have to be returned to the National Lotteries Commission, because we cannot expect them to benefit out of an unlawful activity.
Fair point, fair point. I know that the way the SIU works is you follow the money, you look at the books, and that tends to uncover a whole lot of stuff. Have you passed your information on to the police, or is there a parallel police criminal investigation?
Yes, we have already sent our referrals, firstly to the National Lottery Commission. That is why this Vilakazi guy is now suspended. And secondly, we have made referrals to the National Prosecuting Authorities, who will then get the Hawks to investigate further for criminal purposes. That we have already done.
So there is a possibility, I mean, obviously you can't confirm this, that Mr. Vilakazi and his wife may well be arrested soon, I would imagine.
No, that is the decision of the NPA. We will not pressurize them into deciding the way we want. Yes.
Yeah, but it's good to know that they are also seized with this matter. Look, this is just one aspect of the lottery rot that you've been getting to the bottom of. I know that you've been working on a number of fronts. You've been, I think you seized the house of the former National Lotteries Commission board chair earlier this year. Other people's homes you've seized as well. Could you give us an overview of where you are with dealing with this lotteries rot? Because it seems to have happened on a number of fronts, and I'm not sure if it's all linked or if it's such a vast enterprise that there were different people doing their own bits of fraud.
Sadly, there were different players in this whole thing, and we cannot say at this present moment that they were linked, because they have got their own issues. But I can safely tell you that so far we are saying that the money that might have been taken from the National Lottery Commission can go up to about 2 billion rand.
2 billion rand in total. So here's my next question. Have you got to the bottom of it? And are you sure that any current fraudulent activities at lotteries has been stopped?
We can never be sure whether it has been stopped, because, you know, when people come in, they come very nice, and then later on they see the loopholes and they use them. But at the end of it all, we can say we've reduced it drastically, because they know that we are coming after each and every person that would have done anything wrong. And obviously, they're also still doing some dealings at the back, those that are found, to try and get out of it. But we will do our level best. But the other thing that we do as the SIU is to do what we call systemic recommendations, where we then go to the lottery and say, these are the loopholes in your system. That we have already done. We've engaged with the new commissioner, and they are closing all of those loopholes.
Well, that is encouraging news indeed. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much for that update. That, of course, is SIU spokesperson Kaizer Kganyago telling us about this suspected scheme between lotteries officials in KwaZulu Natal. Well, Sibonele Vilakazi and his wife, Zanele Zuma, are accused basically going to daycares, to football clubs and saying, listen, we can get you lottery money, but we want a kickback. SIU thinks that they've taken over 30 million rand. They have been able to freeze about 2.4 million rand so far. But that is part of a bigger picture of corruption within lotteries that Kaizer Kganyago says amounts to over 2 billion rand.